All right, well, everybody, welcome to the first official kickoff of our weekly accountability calls. This is productivity through accountability. The first assignment we had from last week was unofficial, no recording, just kind of laying out some ground rules. Everybody needed to figure out what it is they wanted to be held accountable to. Okay, and it can be simple. Like Blake and I were talking this morning, his is good. It's super simple. I love that because I do feel like we overcomplicate this process. I feel like the business planning is overcomplicated. We've heard Tom Ferry in the past talk about how script practice and role play is overcomplicated. He's like, just get on the damn phone. So you
Mm.
just need to set some intentions. All right. So what we need to have an offensive posture at the start of every week and know what plays we're going to run. Okay. So, Blake, let us hear what you have to say in terms of what are you committing to every week?
So mine, because I do believe the easier route. I believe a lot of times people overcomplicate it for the sake of overcomplicating it, so they never have to start. So I'm taking a different approach when I really analyzed what I want out of this year, and it's easy to say dials, it's easy to say conversations, and in the past I haven't. In all my years, I've never. There's weeks I do it, of course. I went even further than that. And really, all I want out of this week, I don't care if I just got to make one call or 100 calls. I want to send two buyers to a lender to get at least fill out the app. I tried to go back into my business and just see how, what micro goal can I put in place that'll yield the biggest result. And that's what I've come up with. Two buyers every week would bring me into 8 a month, which would bring me into 96 people a year. Just filling out an application. No price points, no anything else. 96 people in 1 year. But I couldn't just say that because obviously that's the big goal. So I'm going with two. So starting on Monday to Sunday, I only have to get two people to fill out an application. That's it. If I do that, do you want me to go into all my math?
Nope. I just think it's interesting. So if you've got your goal versus what may or may not be reality, but it'd be interesting to see at the end of the year, you say, hey, I sent X amount of people to my preferred lender. This resulted in X amount of buyer transactions. That will give you, like, you don't even have to wait till the end of the year. You could do it obviously on a monthly and quarterly basis.
Yeah.
If you've got a certain number of deals you want to do per month or per quarter, and those two people sent to your lender every single week are not, or that eight a month are not getting it done. They're not resulting in that number of closings that you need. Then you need to tweak that. Maybe you need to bump it up a little bit. You'll have to see. But that's the whole deal behind tracking and measuring. So, like, I'm going to be interested to see, like, at the end of the year, how many conversations I had, the things I'm really focused on, how many conversations I had, how many appointments I set versus completed, and what did that result in? So that I know, like, next quarter, the following quarter, I'm going to have to step up something. I'm going to have to step up my conversations. I'm not getting enough conversations in, or I'm not setting enough appointments. So this is the whole key to tracking and measuring. And we can see, I think, you don't know if it's totally fair, but you were talking about how people are afraid of accountability. It's the number one tool. I mean, we heard that consistently. We have heard that consistently from mentors and coaches we've had in the past. But some of the interview calls, the mega agent interview calls we did fourth quarter, we heard it, like, accountability is the biggest common denominator to success. But most agents just don't want it. And so that's why I think keeping it simple is important. Like, if we had an agent who said, like, I want to get one YouTube video up on my channel per week or whatever it is. And so they could come on here and go, man, I crushed that. Or if it's Even better, I think, would be one open house a week or a certain number per month, and they're focused on hitting that. Maybe they're doing two a month, but they just really want to be super prepared for these open houses, which includes, agent previews and research and all these different things. It can be something simple like that. Where this is not going to be like accountability calls of the past, where we're like, how many dials, how many conversations you get in, and when you didn't hit that goal, you know grossly
Shame, shame,
underperformed.
shame.
Yeah, yeah, the shame and the guilt and the pounding of the rock. This is just like, hey, this is what I need to do. Now, I do think here's the other thing that's beneficial. If we had people on this call who were like, man, real estate's really slow. And they heard me say that I, completed 5 appointments last week, 5 buyer appointments last week. Yesterday, 3 of those were yesterday alone. They might go, well, okay, maybe it's not so slow. Or they may ask me, where are those opportunities coming from? And then we could share and collaborate on that.
Well, I mean, I get what you're saying. Yeah, you're probably right, but I think it comes down to the have and have nots, right? Like the people that have it get it, the people that don't won't, right?
All right. So let me ask you this. When I texted you, or when was it, Saturday, or I think it was like, hey, I got 3 buyer appointments. I got one new pending and 3 buyer appointments tomorrow. Did that do anything to fire you up to get you feeling, get your competitive juices flowing at all?
I was thinking, why the hell are you texting me on a Saturday to tell me that when I just got off the phone and found out that I was on my second repoed car of the year? That's what I thought. Like, I mean, I'm glad for you, but I'm like, yeah, no, 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 no. I got a price reduction on my property and still ain't gotten shit on it. I've gotten, I put, I did hit my goal last week, and I sent 3 people to a lender. One didn't fill out. One I think will, but she's busy. The one that didn't, I'm like, hell yeah. He instantly got back to me and like, well, her credit score is a little low, and there's a repo, and I'm like, man, like, yeah, you could say that motivates to a level to say, all right, well, he just put a lake house under contract. I think that's dangerous, though. I will say that if you're speaking to the general public, right? I think I wouldn't use the term weaker minded individual, but somebody that I think it's very easy. And one thing I've always tried to protect the agents of is comparisons the thief of joy. You know what I'm saying? Like you can take it however you want to take it, right? Like you sent that text and it's to light a firecracker, figuratively under my ass.
Yeah.
No,
I didn't get a chance to really do it this year at New Year's, which is a big bummer.
but some people will take that and go, well, I'm already behind by 750,000. What's the point in trying? I guess it's just a weeding out of it. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's obviously okay. Somebody, like I hate running or exercising. And I guess I could understand the point of, the people that tend to run behind somebody so they can watch their feet. You ever heard of that? Like when you're running, you don't want to be the pace setter. You
Yeah.
want to be the person behind them so you can somehow you conserve energy. I don't know.
Well, all I'm trying to do is really establish, I think, a baseline for how accountability works. I don't think a lot of people get it because I think a lot of people, when they've experienced it in the past, have experienced it in the form of judgment. And if you got on here, if you
Drink.
weren't if you weren't ready to commit to something, you might go, well, gosh, maybe that's part of my problem. I'll let me give you this quote that I got from Sloan Roden this past week, and I'm going to be creating some social media content around it. But she was talking about, one of her gripes with the real estate industry is, people complaining about, their lack of business or how slow things are, how challenging it is. And, she basically said, listen, your opportunity as a 1099 independent contractor is that when you need to make more money, then you have the freedom, the ability to go out there and do something about it. It's really, I would say, the freedom and the responsibility. It is totally up to you to go do something about it. The key phrase in that is, it's up to you to do something about it. And if agents don't know what to do about it, this would be a place where we could come in and tell them what they needed to do. So, thoughts on that real quick?
Well, I tend to believe that's, I mean, I get it, but like not entirely true, right? Like if there's a gun held up to their head, or if that electric bill was about to be showed off, or they're about to be evicted out of their apartment, I assure you they'd figure it out somehow, some way. Like you could take anybody. I think I don't know is easy, right? Like if you said, Blake, what do you need to do to get your price point up? If I've ever said I don't know, it's because I don't want to think about it, right? And we all know what needs to be done, right? Like it, 90% of what I see is okay. And you can hyper focus it down into like open houses, right? Because that's a popular one. People do 2 in a row, 3 in a row and go, those things don't work. I'm done with them for the year. Like if you did them every single week and that's it. Like that's what I mean by getting it easy, right? Like none of the content, none of this, none of the MLS, none of that, all this. That you got to start picking. If you just did one thing consistently, this industry would work. You'd make more than you would at Walmart, make more than you would at Target. You
Yeah,
know,
so that's what this is about. I mean, your thing is getting people, to your lender for pre-approval. Mine
yeah.
is just getting in front of people, appointments, just meeting with people, just getting out there and pressing the flesh, if you will. So whatever it is, people need a one thing, and this is the place where they could come and get it. If you were on the interview with Larry Hall, or I'm sorry, nobody could get on that interview because I had the wrong link. But if you watch the replay, and I was like, Larry, if you were a brand new agent starting today, what would you recommend brand new agents be doing to build their business? He's like content, video and open houses. Can't disagree with that, but it's not a one size fits all industry. There's several things you can be doing, and it's important because I do think people listen to the negativity and design their days and their weeks around what they hear other agents saying works and doesn't work. And we know a lot of times that's disinformation and not necessarily information that's going to help improve their lives and their businesses.
Well,
Um,
it falls into two of why people get in the industry, and people get in the industry I don't know the percentage. I would throw out something stupid like 75% of them get in the industry so they don't have to go and work 9 to 5 and be told by somebody they don't respect, like, hey, you got to be here from the hours of 8 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. We'll pay you $15 an hour. Like it's the oldest thing in real estate, right? I bet you if you could interview every single realtor, they would tell you the same thing. What got you into real estate? And I love it when they get that bullshit about freedom. That's my favorite one because like freedom's relative, right? If you ain't got the money, the freedom sucks.
100%.
Yeah, like I get it. I've tried exhaustingly to understand the common realtor, right? I don't have any interest in the top producers, right? I can't relate to them. The big dog, right? The big one I can't figure out.
I got it. I got
Okay.
it.
I can't figure them out. Like they've got it figured out, but that ain't who we're. 80% of the business is done by 20% of the people. Definitely believe that. So then there's that other 80% of people. How can't they? What? It's the simplest thing. If you really ask them, I think it comes down to the numbers are lying to the agents, and I think it comes down to most agents would feel comfortable if it was a really nurturing environment telling you their goal is to make $30,000 a year and to work 2 hours a week. And one of those hours is showing a home. But the irony is it's never going to work because that's never going to be monthly because you got to institute consistency.
Well, I'm going to throw something else at you.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, I went to an open house an agent hosted open house outside of our company. It was a property that the buyer I was working with said, "Hey, let's add this one to the list." And I didn't realize it, because we're going to the open house. But the property, you didn't need an official appointment, but the property was contingent. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, and I get it. I mean, you can certainly pick up buyers at a contingent open house,
Sure.
but I just left there scratching my head. This is an agent that's at a company that, a lot of, I think, agents that are outside of their company go to their events. They have the trendy trainings and all these things.
Yeah.
But if that's what they're teaching and preaching, like, hey, and who knows? It could have been scheduled well in advance, and then
Yeah.
the agent been like planned to be there, and like it went contingent, and she's like, "Well, hell, I'm just going to go ahead and host it anyway." But I couldn't help but think about that as I was walking away from the open house yesterday, going, like, what is she doing in there, and why she should be on these calls that we have? She should be plugged into what we're doing over here. What say you?
I mean, I think it's more, I mean, I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. I don't think it was much more malice than probably was scheduled and done. And I've had that happen. And, I guess I can tip my cap to them a little bit and say, at least they just didn't go, well, screw it. I'm canceling that.
Yeah,
Right. So maybe they figure it's easier to do. It's going to be an easy one. They probably had the plans off, could be right down the street from their house. So I don't know. Like, I also believe that there's a real estate coaches don't really, most people don't want to run until their body shuts and then take a vacation. Right.
this great point. Okay. I want to throw this out at you. So we have been a part of, well, you were with us through the long stretch of Tom Ferry, and then we went to Coach Burt.
Yep.
For that, I had a MAPS coach with Keller Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I had two MAPS coaches, then Tom Ferry, then Coach Burt, then Jared James. One of those, was a coach with Jared James for a while. Have moved on from that. Here's what I found during my coaching, being a coach. My experience as being a coach was that agents, like, it's like checking a box. Like, it's like when you reach a certain level of production, or if you're trying to reach a certain level of production, this is the natural thing you do. You hire a coach. And I don't want to give people the wrong impression, but I feel like this is more valuable. This is a free call we do every week. This is potentially could be more valuable than a coach, because I'm not saying all agents, but at least everyone that I was assigned to coach, it was like they just felt better about themselves because they were being coached. They didn't really do anything. They weren't there to really do anything or implement anything. They just want to get on, a couple times a month for an hour and have, a conversation about what they're doing. And, uh, I don't know. It was just kind of shooting the shit. It wasn't a lot of substance. And so, just trying to get these agents to implement something was like pulling teeth. And I'm like, you're not here to be held accountable. You're not here to learn a new strategy. You're not here to implement anything. You're just, here to hear yourself talk. I know that sounds terrible, but I really believe, like, I mean, that was the honest experience I had.
Well, it's because like, who the hell wants to pay $1,000 to be told what they already know? And then the moment that accountability comes in, that's all well and good if I achieve those goals. However, the moment I miss, like, I think it'd be more of, I don't know, like the David Goggins method, like how I think he's effective in the times he has been is when he's moved in with the person, right? Like, guy whose wife invented Spanx. I can't think of his name, Jesse Ferguson or something.
Mm-hmm.
That I think there's a level of it, right? And I think it all goes back to what we just got sued for, what everything is. Realtors want the most amount of money with the least amount of work. And I get it. I think everybody does, right? We just take the shit into the stick because we're not supposed to say that. But I'm not sure why people don't come on it, right? But I think this is a simple, I heard it once years ago, and I used to blow it off like, yeah, that's freaking easy. And I don't think the person that said it meant it at the time, but they said, if you start off every Monday and all you look for is one person a week, 7 days a week, and you have one job, I'm not going to tell you how. You go out to Lowe's, Home Depot, restaurants, go to social, stuff like that. If you meet one person a week, that'll either let you give them a listing evaluation on their house or let you show them a house. If you kind of do that over a week, that's 53 deals in a year. You know,
Well, this goes back to the open house argument. If you did
one open house a week.
one open house a week, or so let's just say no matter how many open houses, you're committed to do open houses every single month, whether it's one a week or two a month, whatever it is.
With no marketing either.
Yeah.
I'll
You just get out there.
show up 5 minutes before the open house opens
Yeah.
up. I'm talking about half-assing as half-assing can be. But if you commit to that, going through the motions, I'll call it, because that's something we like to, just say, ooh, no, 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 no. I'm talking no social media. I'm talking you go out 10 minutes before the open house and put the signs up and you open up the house. If you did that once a week, I am all but positive you would see a heavy amount of business coming your way. I don't know where that would land, right? I don't know if it'd be 300 or 7, right?
Well,
Like,
so quantify it this way, I think. Okay. So if let's just say you were blessed, you were stupid blessed, and you got one like legit opportunity per month and you close 10 to 12 deals a year just from this open house strategy, just showing up.
that's like 3.6 million, right?
And that's a good living
That's
that
a
you
good.
can't make, because if somebody can leave here and go to like a corporate 9 to 5 where they can actually climb the ladder, maybe get equity stakes in the company, that's one thing. But most people that leave here to go to the 9 to 5, it's for a job that has, let's say, a ceiling of achievement. So they're
Yeah.
sacrificing the freedom. They're just getting kind of a base pay to live a very basic life, and then they lose the freedom. Like they have to, if they want to go to the gym, they got to go early in the morning or late after work. They can't go, anytime they want. So I worked this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I worked. So I was like, I'm sleeping in Monday morning. I have earned it. That's not the
Yeah.
reality for the 9 to 5ers.
No, you got to go in.
Most agents do three, like we'll do 3 open houses in a row, get nothing off of it. We'll quit, say, I'm not doing this the rest of the year. But they don't know if they would have hosted that fourth open house, they would at least maybe picked up one buyer. And it's the expectations, 10 to 12 deals in a year in our market, given our price point, our average price point, that's a big deal.
Yeah, but I was tying in the beatbox thing too about how, like, on that Saturday, I was not ready to, like, I wasn't like, I was just kind of thinking it's funny after you text me and I'm like, you know, okay. Like, kind of a little bit shaky, right? And it was funny because it was like if I had to go to a job at a factory, I would have been absolutely effing miserable that whole day, right? Tired, didn't sleep good because of the alcohol, none of it, right? And I always go back to tell people is like, I don't care about the volume. All I'm trying to do every year is figure out a way to stay in the business, thrive in the business, right? Because obviously I don't want to go back to a 9 to 5, right? And last year wasn't my best year. A lot of things got into it, but like the establishing of the plan, right? So I do believe that even just with to somebody to answer your question from earlier about how what can somebody do, and I think we both agree that at this point it's become incredibly hard for agents and incredibly easy for agents to go, I don't know, it's just not going to work, right? When they could do very little, but if they do it consistently, there will be some yield. Like I just did the math while you're talking at a $300,000 price point on an open house. Okay. If they did exactly what we said with no marketing, with no nothing, and they got lucky and found one buyer and somehow popped 12 deals. Okay. at a $9,000 commission rate with our company structure. Okay. I will say that because some of them take 30 and 20%. They would make almost $100,000. And you can do the math at how much that work that would be. 3 hours on a Sunday, that's 12 hours a month, right? If you just never don't miss a Sunday, right? $100,000 a year. And there's nobody in their right mind that would tell you that that's not a goal,
Yeah.
right? I'd do it right now if I was like, oh yeah, I just got to give up a Sunday every week.
Well, that just sparked another talking point I did want to mention on this call. Going back to my interview with Larry Hall from last week, but he was mentioning doing like he's had some success doing Thursday evening open houses. So I know some people for Sunday, it's just like that's their day of rest, that's their religious belief or whatever it is, and they're not doing a damn thing on Sunday. That's Sabbath. Okay, great. Do it on Thursday. If I was a neighbor and you got the neighbors involved, let's say like, hey, Thursday evening, gonna have some light finger foods and some wine. Come by, have a snack, look at the house, tell me what you think about it, price and condition. Who knows where the hell that's going to lead? It's crazy. The other thing I want to mention from this is a fourth quarter interview call we had. I'm not sure if you were on this one, Blake. I think maybe you were, but Shelly Wallace, who's with Realty South here locally, a big thing she was talking about was her sphere of influence lunches. And she just replied to a post that we made after cutting up her content, said that she has 2 lunches scheduled this week. So with clients, I don't know if that means with past clients or current clients, but she's very intentional about, just having that kind of personal time with her people outside of the transaction. So the lunch is not to go talk about their prior or current working relationship. It's just to get into community with these people. The next thing I want to say is that Timothy Mills is going to be my next guest interview. And I wanted to he is the current, I believe he is the current president of the Mobile Association of Realtors. Yeah, he is the current president of the Mobile Association of Realtors, the federal political coordinator of the National Association of Realtors, and the broker owner of the Mills Company in Mobile, Alabama. So be sure to tune in to that one. I'm going to send out a Facebook event invitation to everybody. But outside of that, I just wanted to encourage, everybody that gets on these calls. So maybe you, me, and Chris could be intentional about inviting somebody onto this call next week, whether it's within the company, outside the company, like, hey, I think you would get something out of this. And then I wanted to run through my numbers for the week really quickly, and then we can jump off because I am trying to keep these calls, well under an hour. So people are just looking for, I don't have an hour. I don't have an hour of my day to give up. So what I have set is weekly benchmarks, accountability benchmarks for conversations, CMAs, appointments set, appointments completed, contracts written, and then I have a date night on there. So a personal goal. So got the date night hit. Out of the 50 conversations, I had 33. I did not send any CMAs. I was running the roads quite a bit last week. One of our agent interviews last week who was talking about equity updates. I do want to get these equity updates going out because I do feel like that's really important. Because when you send an equity update, you can also say like, hey, you're sitting on $80,000 worth of equity. Do you have any interest in, putting that money to use for you, building your real estate portfolio, diversifying your portfolio, putting your equity to work for you. But also it may go, well, holy crap, I might be interested in selling at that amount. But my goal is to set 5 appointments a week. I hit 4, 2 completed appointments. I crushed that with 5. I had 1 appointment that was scheduled from the prior week. My goal for written contracts was 2. I got 1 in. So feeling pretty good about my week last week. Just feeling good about kicking your ass. That's all.
I mean, you've already lost me. I can't even remember what you said. It's so wordy, so overcomplicated, mushroom, like whatever works for you. Yeah.
Well, and I could, if I was going to simplify mine,
I think it's a full-time job tracking your goals, right?
I
Like,
think well, if I was going to simplify mine in accordance with yours, I would say, listen, I want to get I want maybe two contracts written a week or one buyer, one listing a week. I want to see like at the end of the quarter how many conversations I had, how many
even
appointments I set, and what that yielded.
I mean, you ain't got to ask to send out the CMAs, right?
No,
Uh,
just proactively sending them out. Like I was like, oh, before the end of the year ends, I'm going to send out like 50 CMAs. I didn't do it. That doesn't mean I can't start doing it now and just start making it a habit every week going, hey, congratulations. This house sold near you recently. Looks like it's bumped your equity up 10 grand or whatever the case may be. What do you got there with the papers?
But that's what I was saying. Like, I started to defeat my own purpose. I had Anna writing it so I could read my own handwriting. I had all this stuff, all these stats. And then I'm glad, but it's just like two, right? Keep it simple, stupid. Your goals are for a mature agent, right? You have big goals you want to get to. The point of the call is to reach out to the person that hasn't gotten the game yet, right? And like that, where like I'm thinking, okay, we must figure out a way to undercomplicate 2025.
I agree. I think there's a place for both ends of the spectrum. Like I want to get to 5 pending transactions a month.
Yes.
And I'm trying to reverse engineer what that's actually going to take, what that's actually going to look like. And so if, I didn't hit my conversation goal this week, and if that trend continues and I'm really underperforming on my pendings per month, there's probably a clear indication that I need to get those conversations up. I do have one blank spot on my board here, which is lunches or coffee appointments. Still kind of, you know, feeling that out. I definitely think that should be a priority. And that's why I mentioned Shelly. She tries to do that, get in front of people with a coffee appointment or a lunch appointment a couple times a week. And she was sounding off this morning that, hey, she's got that already scheduled for this coming week, which I think is important. But that could be open houses. It's just like getting in front of how can you get in front of people? Are you volunteering? Are you taking people to lunch or coffee? Are you doing open houses? There's a ton of ways to do it, but it's all about basically getting in front
It can
of
be as simple too as wearing your name tag to Lowe's. One
exactly.
something like that. Like of course, we're talking about two different things, not personal goals versus the people that aren't on, right? The ones that may see this video. Like I think it gets too wrapped up into these giant. Like I was saying, the first call you had. Just want to reiterate because I've seen this historically. Like if Jason said his goal is 10 million, next person up goes, yeah, I'm right around 10 million too. My goal. What'd you say your conversations were, Jason? Yeah, 50. Yeah, mine are 50 too.
Yeah.
Right.
So if somebody's just starting out and they want to commit to something super simple, like connecting their preferred lender with one potential buyer per week or one open house a month, whatever it is, I don't see I don't see how 30 minutes a week with us, hopefully we'll get these, more efficient, but would not be beneficial. Just hearing people talk about different things, different strategies, what they're doing. Somebody might go, well, Blake, how did you get those 3 people to the lender this week? Where did they come from? And then that would give us an opportunity to talk about, maybe a strategy or a method that they've never used before.
Yeah.
All right. Good deal. Good call. All right. So everybody's going to invite somebody next week, and Chris is going to have his shit together and ready to tell us what he's accountable to. And maybe I'll track my numbers just more in-house, and I'll talk about
I
contract.
think it's good for every spectrum. I'm just trying to. I don't want to get off the the point of it, right? Like I don't
Yeah.
think it. Like I was saying privately off camera is like, it ain't the people that know what to do call. It's the people that don't know how to say anything that I don't know, right? Like, somebody gets on there and they hear you rattling off, like, I want 50 conversations a date night. I want 7 CMAs sound sent out, on a Tuesday. Like, people are going to be like, oh, shit, my goals ain't that, right? So like I think it's just super simple. Like I'm laying it out there as far as a challenge that like really impossibly it can't it's impossible to not be done. I didn't
Like,
say approved. I didn't say fill it out. I'm saying I'm sending two people the app.
yeah, pick something. It can be super simple or it should be super simple. Pick something you're willing to commit to. Chris has told me that he wants to get more content. He wants to start putting out more content. So maybe he goes, listen, I'm going to put out one piece of, content a week around listing marketing or whatever it is. And it's just something super simple like that. It's all about getting in I think the mode of creating powerful habits, creating consistency, and consistency can be super simple, like just having one thing you deploy every single week without fail. All right, let's end it on that. I think that's a good call. All right. See you guys next week. Okay, bye.